I'm attorney Justin Clark. Coming up just ahead on this week's edition of You Have Real Estate, what do you need to disclose to a buyer if you're selling your home to avoid getting sued, and should you ever sign an as-is contract? All just ahead with You Have Real Estate. Welcome to You Have Real Estate with me, attorney Justin Clark. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, seasoned investor, or looking to sell your home, this next 30 minutes is designed for you. Think of it like hitting multiple open houses with me, all from your living room with my attorney advice throughout the way. If you have any questions whatsoever during the show, I have people standing by right now at 407-205-0400. Plenty of information is also on the website, youhavepower.com. We're going to tour some amazing houses together, so stick around. You're going to love this next 30 minutes. But first, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for my opening statement. You know, we talk a lot on this show about the as-is contract, and today I really want to focus on those of you that are looking to sell your home and how this as-is contract really affects you and what it means for you when it comes to what you need to disclose to a potential buyer. This stuff's dangerous, so you really need to listen up. I've had a ton of people in my law firm here recently who have bought a house, and they come to see me, and they want to sue the seller. This is well after you've already gotten paid as a seller. You've moved on with your life. You've taken your profits, and they want to sue for everything from bad piping to a non-functioning air conditioning unit or mold in the walls. Buyers, when they get into that house and start doing a little bit of work, really are looking for reasons to get mad at you as the seller. So what do you do as a seller? And if you are a seller and you use an as-is contract, let's make no mistake. Even if it says as-is, you still must disclose any issues that materially affect the value of this home. They're tough cases for the buyer. They are tough cases. The buyer needs to show, and Phil Deems, producer extraordinaire, you might want to put this on the screen too. The buyer's going to need to show that you knew about the defect as a seller. The defect negatively impacts the value of the home. The buyer didn't know about the defect, and you didn't tell the buyer about the defect. Again, these are tough cases, but look, you know, you've already made the profit. You've moved on with life. You're done with this house. Now, I mean, at best, you're going to have to go pay $5,000 to have a lawyer defend you in this case, right? We don't want that. The best way to go is always disclose, disclose, disclose. There's plenty of buyers out there. Look, if one guy is going to get scared off by something in your disclosure, there are plenty of buyers behind them. Be extra cautious. Disclose, disclose, disclose. I do find it interesting, though, that Florida law specifically says you don't have to disclose a couple of things. Murder, suicide. I mean, these are things that you would think maybe you should have to disclose, but you actually technically don't have to disclose. And lastly, for those of you who aren't super experienced and you say, look, I'm going to save money on the real estate commission, I'm going to sell this place by myself. This is all the reason in the world to tell you to please hire a real estate agent to sell your house. Don't try to go it alone. Two very special guests joining me today. You're going to show us some awesome properties. I have Sherry Dyer here with Regal Real Estate Professionals. How are you, Sherry? Thanks for being here.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me,
And
Justin.
Kristen Vaught joins me from Coldwell Banker. Hello, welcome to the show, Kristen. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. So, Sherry, let me get right to it.
Yeah.
How does an as-is contract differ from a regular contract? What's the difference?
Well, some of the difference is asking for repairs, both termite, wood-destroying organism, and structural repairs. So you can cap limits to how much. If you've seen the property and you know that there's going to be some repairs, i.e., you can see that there's polybutylene piping. You know that there's going to need that's going to need to be repaired. So you can ask for limits on a standard FAR contract. The as-is doesn't necessarily mean as-is, because you can negotiate the whole way through in a contract, almost until the last day. Wow.
Kristen, let me ask you this. Do you prefer, let's say you're working with a buyer or a seller, do you prefer as-is versus the standard contract?
I definitely prefer as-is.
Okay. But I'm confused, and I want to make sure we're clear on this. If you buy a car kind of as is, you think, look, I'm buying the car, you know, buyer beware, laissez-faire. But if you're buying a house as is, I can still get an inspection. I can still go see if anything's wrong, and I can still back out, correct?
Correct. And it gives an opportunity for the seller to possibly back out also if they're not willing to move forward with repairs you're requesting. So it's just like another point of negotiation. So you want to really build in a strong inspection period for your buyer.
Sherry Dyer, do you think that an as-is contract is better for the buyer or the seller? Does it benefit one party over the other?
I don't believe that it does, because now we're seeing more and more, most of my as-is contracts, the sellers think they really mean as-is. They don't, because once that inspection is complete, if something is found, the buyer has the right to ask for repairs, and both parties can walk away. So it really, what I like about the standard contract is, for representing a seller too, is that you can cap the amount. And that puts a limit. When you cap that $500 towards wood-destroying organisms and $2,000 or $5,000 towards structural repairs, at least you know where you're going. And when you do an as-is, that's still wide open.
Yeah. Kristen, let me ask you this. So let's say I'm a buyer, right? And I go in and make an offer on a house. The seller accepts. We're under contract. I have that inspection period. My inspector tells me the roof needs to be replaced. And then as the buyer, the roofing quote that I got says it's going to be $12,000. But the seller said, no, you don't even have to replace it. You just need to patch it up for $5,000. What do we do when we come to that standstill?
Every interaction is going to be different, so I don't think there's a single answer for that. I do think that it's just an opportunity for a renegotiation. The seller may need to replace the roof, or maybe a credit at closing to take care of it after closing.
When you have, Sherry, a customer, a client, let's say that it's the seller, and they come in and you think they're being a little bit unreasonable. We'll use the same example, the roof, right? You're pretty sure the roof probably needs to be replaced as well, but the seller say, nope, I want to net this much money, because net's really what they really care about at the end of the day. I want to net this much money. There's no way I'm replacing the roof. How do you reason with them? How do you reason with a seller who is kind of drawing a line in the sand?
Well, I oftentimes have them, they probably have a roofer they like, if they've owned the home a while, have them come out and have a second opinion on it as well. And not make me the bad guy, because I got to keep negotiating with them. So if I get a second opinion and I hire either a roofer that I like, or that I use, and that takes some of the pressure off me. Sometimes they need to hear the roof needs to be replaced more than once, more than just from the buyer, And if it depends on what kind of financing they're getting. There's certain types of financing where if the roof has less than 3 years life in it, you have to replace it.
Right.
I mean, it's not going to sell, and it's going to be tagged, but it just depends on the price point.
And if it's not that buyer, it'll be the next.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you wanted to snip this in the butt, let's rock and roll.
It's going to cut your losses a little bit. I mean, we're here. We're ready to close this thing almost. We're talking about a couple of $1,000s. Sometimes it's better to, instead of starting the whole process over with the real possibility of it happening again with the same buyer 25 days from now. Right. So, if you're a seller, you have to, be somewhat reasonable and understand that that's it. Don't just necessarily as a seller have this net in mind. I'm not walking away unless I get $120,000 in my pocket. Sometimes that can create a lot of problems for you as a seller. Wouldn't you agree?
100%.
So let's ask this question, Kristen. Let's say I have an as-is contract. Okay. I'm a buyer, right? But I'm also getting a mortgage, FHA mortgage, let's say.
Okay.
The offer on the house is $250,000, but the appraisal that the mortgage company gets comes in at $230,000. What can I do then?
It's another opportunity for a renegotiation. There's multiple, from the beginning to the end, you're going to have multiple opportunities to renegotiate. So as the buyer, you are going to, if I'm helping you, we're going to go to bat and let the sellers know that because we have this certain type of financing and cannot pay additional, that we're going to need to reduce the price to the appraised value.
Gotcha, okay.
Well, and also that appraisal sticks with that property for 60 days or 90 days.
It's certainly. I don't remember the exact time, but I mean, you're going to be stuck with it.
So
for a
that
while.
Appraisal, if any other FHA buyer comes in,
same deal.
The FHA, because it's in a system, in the computer system, it's going to stick with that.
Yes.
How does the negotiation really work at this point? So again, I make an offer, seller signs it, so we're under contract. I get an inspection. How long do I normally have to get the inspection?
10 days has been pretty standard.
Okay.
I would agree.
And then the inspection comes back with some issues in the house. How does the negotiation go from that point?
Well, the buyer's agent sends an addendum over saying that the buyer agrees to proceed with the contract with the following repairs made. And then the seller can then take time to figure out how much is that going to cost, get quotes and prices and bids, and then we can negotiate from there. But you have to have a monetary term.
Right. Do we normally find that the seller wants to do the work themselves, or do they want to give us credit to do the work ourselves as the buyer?
I have found credit.
Yeah.
Like, here's a credit, handle it the way you see fit with your vendors.
Nobody wants to do the work.
Absolutely.
And nobody wants to deal with the subcontractors.
Right.
The market's doing great. It's hard to find good people right now because the builders are taking a lot of the good ones. So I find that,
But let's say that I'm the buyer, though, and the seller's like, look, I'm not giving you credit for $8,000 to repair that room or this roof or whatever. Don't you think the buyer could have some concerns that the seller's going to do it on the cheap and not do a great job of the repairs? Do you ever see that?
Absolutely.
So-
A lot. Yeah, where they don't want the seller who's, checked out of that house already because that's why they're selling it. And so why have them do the repairs? Who are they going to hire? So a lot of times it is good.
Got it.
And it's funny because a lot of buyers make up numbers. Oh, that's going to cost $3,000 to, fix something. And it's like, less than $1,000.
So, make special note, guys. The as-is contract does not mean as is. It just doesn't. If you're a seller, it doesn't mean that the buyer's taking the house as is no matter what. That is not what as is means. And if you're the buyer, it doesn't mean you have to buy it no matter what because you put an as-is contract. It really doesn't make a huge difference in the grand scheme of things. In fact, almost every contract I see comes across as is, right? I mean, what percentage of contracts are as is these days?
Over
Majority.
90, 95.
Definitely the majority.
If you have any questions about this, or you're looking to buy a house, you need to get pre-approved. People are standing by to pre-approve you right now. We're about to show you some awesome houses. The phone number, 407-205-0400. Before we do that, I got to know. Sherry, I know I lived this time with you. 2006, the peak of the market. It was crazy. 2008, we were kind of getting a little bit nervous. 9, 10, we were waiting tables, basically. Now the market has come back. It's been great. But how do you see the market over the next couple of years?
Well, the election year is usually a year that's pretty flat because everybody's watching. So 2020, I don't see that we're going to have, a big increase, or are we? No, we're not going to come down again like we ever did. But I do believe Central Florida, with having a 2% population growth rate last year, we're fine in Central Florida. Thank you, Walt Disney World.
Yeah. What do you think, Kristen Vaught? What do you see?
The trends I've seen is everything is definitely steadily still increasing. I do agree that it'll sort of level off a little bit. But I think this is a great time and opportunity with interest rates and the inventory that's available to move if you're ready.
I say on this show all the time that the rental market in Central Florida is great if you're a landlord.
Right.
But if you're renting, I mean, it is almost impossible to afford to pay rent out there
Yes.
for the same house. You can almost guarantee your mortgage payment to own a house is going to be way, way less than what you would pay to rent the same place. I mean, is there any doubt about that?
No doubt at all. I have a property management division, and I've been increasing rent rates about $100 every year. Minimum, just depends on the area, and it's just gone. We've seen Winter Park, for instance, go from like $1.50 a square foot to $2. Now we're at $2.50. If you're near any water, you're
Right.
up from there, and that's just continues to climb.
I do think tenants are nervous about out-of-pocket money, and there's huge value with a real estate agent that can negotiate closing costs for you, repairs and different things, so that you're not out of pocket a ton, and you're also getting that mortgage that's less than rent.
I totally agree, and I think that a lot of us, especially those of us who were homeowners in 2008, 9, and maybe went through a foreclosure or went through a bankruptcy, we've been renting this whole time. We probably even have some cash stashed away, but we've been renting this whole time because we're afraid to go check our credit. We've heard that it's impossible to get a mortgage. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not. It's really become much easier to get a mortgage than it was in 2010, 11, when essentially it took an act of Congress to get a mortgage. 2000
Firstborn child, maybe, or
in 2006 it was a pulse and a pen, and then 2010 it was almost impossible. Now we're somewhere, certainly not 2006, but it's much easier now to get a mortgage. So if you are renting, I want you to seriously consider buying a house, and the first step in doing that is calling us right here. We have people right now to answer your questions, to get you pre-approved, or to go show you some houses, and you can do that by calling 407-205-0400. Are you ready to take some tours of some properties?
Let's do it.
I think it is time. All right, let's start with you. Kristen Vaught, Caldwell Banker. You're going to take us out to Whetstone. Where is this?
This is located in Seminole County in Lake Forest. It is a guard-gated community with a plethora of amenities. There's an Olympic-sized pool, and it's very nicely laid out. This is over 2,300 square feet. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom. It sits on a 1/4-acre lot. They've redone all the flooring. There's plantation shutters, new appliances. They've redone the garage doors. It's just a really nice lot and location in the Lake Forest community. It's also in a price point that's pretty competitive in there and hard to find. So it is one that's going to go quickly for sure.
What is the price point on
this one? Is $410,000.
If you don't know Lake Forest, and some people who might be scared off by the word Sanford for whatever reason, which is weird because Sanford's become an awesome city lately.
Yes.
But this Lake Forest area is kind of in that Heathrow, Markham Woods area back there. Just a beautiful part of town.
It's located off of 46 near International Parkway, and it is situated by where 429 and all sorts of access points for commuting are going to be.
And I've seen the rental rates actually in Lake Forest. I mean, to rent this house, you're looking at $2,800 a month probably.
Easily.
At least.
Easily.
The mortgage on 410, you're looking at less than that, $2,200 a month maybe.
Right.
So
and you're not throwing it away. It's something that will return value to you later.
You're not paying someone else's mortgage. You're really getting the equity of this house. So if you're renting, seriously consider calling Kristen Vaught to check out these places over in Lake Forest up in Seminole County. All right, one more, actually right down the street from
Actually,
Whetstone.
2 doors down.
2 doors down.
It's 2 doors down. So for the buyer that's maybe looking for a pool, this is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 3-car garage, and it does have a pool that was installed in 2014. So it's a newer pool, a fenced-in lot. And this one has anything and everything you could possibly think of needing being done. The sellers took really great care of it and are sad to pass it on, but are moving across the street. So
Yeah, it looks like they've redone everything.
They have,
there.
absolutely.
What do you think the time frame is for a kitchen? I mean, what year? How many years does a good kitchen last before you really need to replace it? You think?
Not long. About
Hey, come
10.
on! Don't tell my wife this, please.
I would say 10.
Yeah.
Still, cut that out of the show, please. I don't want Pilar hearing that. Not long.
No, it's
Man.
amazing the trends and
Really?
how people want it now, and they want it. The modern look is so in right now, and
I
it's
gotcha. If you have any questions or would like to see either of these properties up in Lake Forest, up in Seminole County, call us right now. I'll hook you up immediately with Kristen Vaught with Caldwell Banker, 407-205-0400. I'll also post these listings so you can see the pictures and take the tours on the website, which is youhavepower.com. youhavepower.com. Kristen, you're going to stick around for the real estate roundtable, right?
Sure.
All right. So let's go to Sherry Dyer here. Sherry's with Regal Real Estate Professionals, Christie's International Realty.
yes.
I know a lot of you people over there, by the way. Awesome organization. I know.
Christie's International Real Estate is such a luxury
Yep.
brand, and the marketing is just amazing. It has just
Really,
been a
yeah,
fabulous journey
Really
with them.
do a great job. All right, you're going to take us down to the Winter Park area, I believe. Ooh,
Yes.
fancy. Let's go to Cypress Lane. Tell me about this one.
Okay, Cypress Lane is a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath. It was completely remodeled by an architect, and she gutted it, so you brand new everything, roof, and you can see inside that you'll see the kitchen is gorgeous. Its quartz is now the new countertop that's in for its antimicrobial features. This home is a little over 3,700 square feet. It does have access to the chain of lakes, mostly for paddle boarding. There's a park across the street, and you can put in paddle boards, kayaks, canoes, and it is on the north side of Lake Maitland.
How many alligators are in those lakes, by the way? Just so I know.
0.
Okay. Zero?
Zero.
If you want to buy this house, none.
Okay,
They
excellent.
wrinkled them all.
I just wanted to make sure. Because I have heard they really make sure there are no gators in those lakes.
Yeah, they take them out when they're about, they start to get a little over 4 feet.
Oh, wow.
You
Beautiful.
can call somebody and they will
Beautiful.
remove them.
And what is the price point here on Cypress Lane?
Cypress Lane is offered at $959. It's a great value. Brand new construction at about $258 a square foot. that's kind of hard to find.
Right. So tell
Yeah.
me kind of where this is in Winter Park, just so I know. So I think
Okay.
most of us know kind of the Park Avenue area, and then we know Maitland. Where is it in relation to those?
Okay, so this is going to be more on the north side of Lake Maitland. So it's off of Horatio. So it's not quite Maitland, but it's on that north side,
Yep.
but it is Lake Maitland.
Gotcha.
So you're on the Winter Park side. It's beautiful. And it's called Lake Owl Preserve. There's like a preserve area. And it's just a really beautiful dead-end street. It connects to Venetian Way with a walking bridge.
Right. Yeah, it's a
Parks,
beautiful
it's
area.
just gorgeous
And
over
that's
there.
Orange County, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely in Orange County.
Oh,
All
yes.
right, so now we're going to even show you something a little bit nicer, and that's if Phil doesn't put an offer on it like he threatened to prior to the show. We're going to go down to Poinciana Lane. Sherry Dyer, tell me about this one.
Yes, well, this one's located not far from the Winter Park Racket Club. So you can walk to that, as a matter of fact.
wow.
This is frontage on the Winter Park chain of lakes.
So this is on the lake.
This is on the lake. Yeah, it's
Okay.
on an alcove to
Right.
the lake, on Lake Maitland.
I gotcha.
So it's really, really an amazing house. The buyers, they gutted it in 2009 and completely redid it. Both of these homes are one story, and it's really sometimes hard when these builders come in. They like to maximize the lot size, right? So they go up and do as much square footage in the homes. Well, these are nice because it's all one floor. This home is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, and it is offered at $1,595,000, and it has a little over 3,300 square feet. It has a charming boathouse, dock, and plenty of storage.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of the outdoor area. Very, very nice. How do you think buyers, are they expecting a nice outdoor living area anymore or what?
Absolutely. Yeah, buyers definitely, especially people that come down from up north until they realize how hot it is in the summer and then the mosquitoes after the rain. But,
Right.
they do. You want to bring the outdoors in the fall and the, winter, and it's a wonderful time.
What is the price point here on Poinciana Lane?
$1,595,000.
So the people that come from up north, and I did that at one point in time too, I've been here a long time now. Would you ever jump in a pool in like January at this point, or it's too cold for us now that we're Floridians, isn't it?
Yes, it
Yeah, I
is.
see them jumping in the pools and things in January. I'm like, I don't know how you do that. Right, that's why I moved to Florida.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore either.
So let's say, okay, 1.5-ish million on this one. Let's say this wasn't on the lake, had no lake access. I'm curious as to how that really affects the value. What do you think it would be listed at if it wasn't on the lake?
If it was not on the lake, it would probably be close to the 9s.
Yeah, okay.
This is, because it's an alcove, if you were actual direct frontage on
Right.
the lake, you couldn't get on the lake for under $2 million.
But I can see here it has a boathouse. I mean, you could put a
Yeah.
boat there. I mean, you can get right on the main lake, it looks like.
Yep,
So,
Lake Maitland right there.
And it's not on like a little creek either.
No.
Sometimes you'll see a house that's on a little creek and they're like,
Yeah.
well, if it hasn't rained in a few days, you're not
Yeah.
lakefront anymore. This is not that house.
Yeah, the canal fronts do not command as much money as the, better
Gotcha.
direct.
If you would
Absolutely.
like to see either of these homes, call us right here. I'm going to hook you up with Sherry Dyer. The phone number is 407-205-0400. Sherry, excellent job. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
You're going to stick around for the real estate roundtable.
Absolutely.
The audience has a lot of questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is time for today's real estate roundtable. If you have any questions whatsoever, we might just answer them on the show next week. All you have to do is go to the website, youhavepower.com. You can ask the questions right there, and we might address them next week on the show. Or if we don't address them on the show, I'll reach out to you, and I will personally address whatever questions that you have. All right, let's go to John in Port Orange. John says, should I ever buy a house as is? What do you think? Kristen Vaught.
Clarification, meaning as is,
I think what he's saying is
not ask for repairs.
Yeah, I think he's talking about the contract. We were talking about the as-is
Okay.
contracts before. So, I mean, I think the answer is yes. You're not supposed to be scared of the as-is contract.
Absolutely, do not be scared of the as-is contract. It's just another opportunity to work through any hurdles that may come up so that you're comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, John, most contracts that we see are as is. It doesn't mean you can't get out of it if you find something you don't like as the buyer. So don't ever let the as is thing scare you or throw you off.
No, and as the buyer, when you present an as-is contract to the seller, you come across saying, okay, I'm going to beat you up because I'm not going to ask for any other repairs.
Right.
However, that's never true. They
not true.
always ask
That
for
is not
repairs.
true.
So, you know what, buyers, go ahead, keep messing with the sellers. It's okay.
Gotcha. Let's go up to Leesburg, where they have the Bike Fest once a year. Jim in Leesburg ask, what issues do I need to disclose as a seller? Sherry Dyer.
The law is disclose, disclose, disclose. If you've lived in the house and you know issues, you must disclose them. And as realtors, if we know of any issues or any issues in the area, we also must disclose. And that's why it's important to work with a realtor that knows the area and what's happening.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think there are some buyers who try to go this open door route, which I really don't recommend. I like to hire a local real estate agent who really knows what they're doing, but they try to do the open door thing thinking, I know I got some issues with the house. I'll just sell it to this computer, basically, which is open door, and I will never have to disclose them. If I sell my house via open door, are they going to do an inspection? I mean, they're going to find out what's going on.
Absolutely.
So if you're thinking about doing one of these new services, first of all, don't. Second of all, you're not going to slide it by. They're going to find out the same issues that a regular buyer is going to find out.
The average sale price for open door, I know it's under $500,000. Like I'm going to say it's around $250,000.
Right.
We did some statistics, but I'd have to clarify the statistic. But yeah, the average sales price is very low, and sometimes it's not it's cleaning out some of the bad stuff. It's people who have so much deferred maintenance.
Exactly. All right, Samantha down in Windermere, beautiful area down in Windermere. As a seller, can I just verbally tell the buyer about the issues in the house?
I would not recommend that. I would definitely put everything in writing, sign it, hand over as much as you can written, so you're solidifying.
I totally agree. I mean, I think the law technically is that, you could, but how are you ever going to prove that you told the buyer
You could do like
about
a
it?
Facebook Live.
Yeah, I guess
Here.
so, yeah. That's a good point. But, absolutely. I mean, the FAR contract has a special form where you can actually disclose everything, right? It's really simple. I mean, if you get anything from today's show, if you're a seller, please disclose, because best case scenario, you're going to pay a lawyer $10,000 to defend the case after they sue you. Worst case scenario, they're going to come and take all the profits from the house that you sold a long time ago.
And if you've hired a real estate agent that's you feel comfortable with, they should be guiding you to do those things also. So there is definitely value
No doubt.
to the real estate agent,
No doubt.
contrary to the open door belief.
Sherry Dyer,
Yes.
great to see you. Thank you for being here
Wonderful
today. You
to
can come
see you
join us
again.
anytime here on You Have Real
Thank
Estate.
you.
Kristen Vaught,
Thank you.
awesome to
Thank
meet you
you. You
today
too.
with
Thanks so
Coldwell
much.
Banker. You two are invited back anytime.
Awesome.
Okay?
Thank you.
But most importantly, thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, 407-205-0400, or if you're ready to start that house hunt and need a pre-approval letter, because you need that before you start, the phone number 407-205-0400. I'm attorney Justin Clark, and I'll see you right back here next week for another edition of You Have Real Estate.
If you have a question you would like answered on an upcoming episode of You Have Real Estate with attorney Justin Clark, call 407-205-0400.
Are you considering selling your home and would like to have it featured right here on our show? Or would you like to get pre-approved for a mortgage to buy your dream home? Give us a call, 407-205-0400. You Have Real Estate.